Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol reveal. We are right off of Adepticon, and already they are showing us some more of the Spider Foes. We saw a couple of them in the Adepticon reveals. We got Sandman and Vulture revealed there, and right away we are getting the panel to play for Shocker. So this is really exciting. We've now seen three of the four Spider Foes coming in that pack. Just waiting on Electro now, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into things here. So there is a lovely look at the model here. It is a really nice looking model, and it looks like we are confirming that it's on a medium base here, I believe. So yeah, that's cool to see. It looks like pretty much every model in this box is going to be on a medium base. I don't think that's 100% confirmed yet with Electro, but that seems to kind of be the way things are going. So, Spider Foes is kind of becoming the affiliation of medium bases here. If we go ahead and we scroll down, they talk about some of his abilities here, but we can also just read the cards for ourselves. So if we go ahead and we take a look here, Shocker, Herman Schultz. He's coming in with 4-3-3 for his stats. He's got 5 stamina. He's a threat level 3, size 2, medium mover. And I might have missed something, but I'm pretty sure nothing changes between the two sides of his card, just the art there. So we only really have to worry about the one here. He's got 2 attacks. He's got Vibro Shock Strike. This is going to be a range 3 5 dice attack. It's going to be a builder, so he's going to gain power equal to the damage that he deals, and it does have a wild stun, which is a nice condition, especially since you're throwing it around at range 3, so that's always good to have. He's also got a spender here, Shake 'em Down. This is a 4-cost energy attack. It's going to throw 7 dice, also at range 3, so he's kind of got a main operating range here. And it's got a wild stagger, giving stagger after the attack is resolved. So obviously probably the best condition in the game in most cases. So yeah, that's pretty good. It's as far as 3 threat spenders go, I definitely think it's solid. I don't know if it's like the best thing in the world. It is only 7 dice, which I think is roughly average for them, and it only really has one extra effect that is on a wild, so it's not the most consistent thing in the world. But whether you're trying to do a little bit of extra damage or you're just fishing for that stagger, definitely nice to have it on his card. He's got Vibrational Shield here, which I think is kind of funny because Vibranium Shield is the first instance of this ability. And they're kind of the opposite because Vibranium literally doesn't take vibrations, it's completely like absorbent. Versus this is literally a shield of vibrations, and it's just when this character is targeted by a physical or energy attack, it can use this superpower to add 2 dice to his defense roll against the attack, making him effectively 6-5-3 if he's got the power he's willing to spend. So Mystic, definitely the weaker side on this guy. For a 3 threat, that's not bad. I mean, technically that makes him bulkier than Sam, so that's a thing. Next up, he has If the Ground is Rocking. When an enemy character within range 2 of this character makes an attack, it rolls 1 fewer dice on its attack roll. So he's basically got a shock aura, which I also think is just really cute, that it didn't really make sense to give him the shock ability because that's not actually what the shocker does. So they gave him an aura that's not actually shock, but it's the same effect as shock, and I think that's really cool. And also I think is probably the best thing on his card. I mean, that's a really solid ability to have. It's a passive, he doesn't even have to pay power to do it. And you just throw this model with again medium base, medium move. So he's not slow, he's getting where he wants to be, and that aura is a nice big I guess radius around him. So yeah, that's really solid. And yeah, it's just a good effect. I mean, I've already had some of my locals talking about combining him with some other models that kind of have similar auras or other things to kind of tone down your opponent's attacks. Throw a shock on there as well. Suddenly 2 fewer dice feels real bad. Combine that with, I don't know, a Crimson Dynamo, making you reroll, or Amazing Spider-Man for that matter. Loki, once he's been flipped, turning off your criticals. There's tons of cool things you can do with that to really just stack the debuffs on your opponent's attacks and make it incredibly obnoxious. So there's definitely some cool things there. And then he has the immunity to the stun condition. So very solid immunity. I don't think Shocker is going to be particularly power hungry, so I don't think stun was going to shut him down or anything like that. But still, nice to have it. And as we said before, nothing changes on the flip side here. And I believe if we go through the rest here, no cards or anything were previewed today. So just Shocker. And yeah, that's pretty much what we got for him here. So let's talk about this a little bit. So, first of all, just reading through all of the text here, we don't really get any sort of peek into where he might be affiliated other than Spider Foes, because I think it's very, very obvious that he's going to be in Spider Foes. Obviously, they do might mention Spider-Man a couple times here, and you know, I think that that's the obvious one. I think there's a real world where he's in Criminal Syndicate as well. I think that would make sense. I mean, they literally talk about the first encounter where he's basically just robbing a bank, I believe. So yeah, that makes sense. He's a criminal, so it would make some sense for him to be in Criminal Syndicate. We'll see if they do decide to go that route or not. But I think as far as Spider Foes are concerned, I think he's a solid extra model for their roster. He's an extra three threat option, which is nice for them. They already have a couple solid ones, but he does something fairly unique. He gives them kind of that, you know, defensive debuff, or if that makes sense. Like he's debuffing your opponent's offenses, which is technically a defensive buff for your allies, which is kind of cool because I don't think Spider Foes has too much in the way of like, you know, helping the rest of the team stay alive, which kind of makes sense because a lot of the foes are, you know, very selfish characters, so they wouldn't have those kind of friendly abilities. But it's cool to see them get something like that, and I think there's going to be a lot of potential for that to be really interesting, especially again if you can kind of combine that with some other models, handing out some other things like Shock. I think there might be a lot of room to see Shocker and Electro working really, really well together. Obviously, we don't know what Electro does yet, but I'm assuming somewhere in his kit he's going to hand out the Shock special condition. That would just make sense to me. So yeah, I think that's a cool like possible synergy those two are going to have, is just kind of you can start to stack those debuffs. He is definitely a little on the squishier side, especially if you don't have the power for Vibrational Shield. That can definitely hurt a little bit. I think you're going to probably want to be playing him mostly under Doc Ock, where you're going to get that extra power, you know, whenever you get punched, so you'll be able to afford the Vibrational Shield a little bit more often. That'll be good. That'll help keep him alive. But as someone who does play a lot of Sam Captain America, 5 dice doesn't mean anything. If you got rerolls or if you got damage reduction, maybe that can start to stack up. But 5 dice on its own, that will whiff on you, so you're gonna have to be careful with this guy. He will just die if you're not careful with him. And as I already kind of mentioned, foes don't have much in the way of helping each other to stay alive. They don't have, as far as I can think of, much in the way of like bodyguards or anything like that. So you definitely want to be careful because this guy does want to be right in the thick of things to get the most out of that debuff aura. Or you know, you kind of just bunch him up. You know, if you know your opponent's got some very range two oriented characters, just kind of put them at the front of some of your more range guys you want to protect. And with that range three, that kind of works out well for him as well because obviously range three doesn't quite make him like a gunline piece or anything like that. He does need to be a little closer to the fight than a lot of those like other types of more range four focused models. But he can kind of sit in that middle ground and just kind of be like, well, if you want to get to these guys behind me, you're gonna have to deal with my debuff, or you're gonna have to go a longer way around. And I think there's some interesting things you can do with that. So that's kind of cool. The other thing really is just, you know, maybe if the Shocker isn't their target, he's not holding an objective or anything like that, just run him at your opponent and force them to either waste attack actions on him or move away or deal with the fact that they have less effective attacks. So yeah, I think there's some interesting things you can do with him there, and it'll take some time to really see, you know, how effective and how powerful he actually is. Um, First impressions, I'll be right up front with I'm a little disappointed that he's not a two threat. Once we knew he was coming on a medium base, I think the idea of him being a two threat kind of went out the window. But I think between him and Vulture, one of them probably could have been a two threat, and my vote would have been Shocker. So that's a little disappointing that Spider-Foe still isn't getting a two because God, I hope Electro is not a two threat. But still, I don't hate the decision to make him a three, and I think they did mostly justice with the character. I would have liked to see some sort of beam attack or something on there as well. Maybe even that would be a cool thing to change for his spender, is make that actually like a beam. Nothing else changes. Maybe bring it down to 6 dice. But make it a beam that has a stagger. That would be really, really cool. Because I do think the stagger is a little, or the spender is a little underwhelming. If it was an auto stagger or something, I like it a little bit more. But as it currently stands, I don't see myself using that spender all that much if I'm playing Shocker. If I have the power, I'm going to anyways because it is just more dice and stagger is a good condition. But I'm definitely not building a game plan around it, so it's a little disappointing in that regard. But overall, I do think they did, for the most part, justice to the character. I think he's got some cool things. He's going to be doing some really interesting things in how your opponent's going to have to play around him. My locals are terrible people, and they're already discussing putting him in a kind of like death and taxes list where you have like Loki and Pyro, so everyone's rooted, everyone's not getting their crits exploding, they're rolling less dice, and it sounds like a terrible time, but I think that would be a kind of a cool place where Shocker might be able to find a niche in there as well. So I definitely think he's an interesting model. I hope he ends up seeing play. It's a little early to kind of say for sure whether or not he will, but he's definitely cool. I'm definitely going to try him out when he comes out. And yeah, I think I'm looking forward to him still. And the model does look really good. I think they did a great job on that. I think the pose is really cool. Kind of makes me think of what they did with Black Bolt, with kind of like the shockwave coming out in front of him. And I like that effect. I think it works really, really well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we're seeing here for Shocker. That is going to do it for this panel to play review. I don't really know what I'm calling these yet because this is kind of the first time I've done this. I've covered big reveals at like Adepticon reveals and things like that in the past, but this is one of the first ones where I've been where I'm like I'm going to cover a single character that got revealed. And if you guys like these types of videos and you want to see more of them, do let me know because I'd love to do more of these in the future. I follow the game pretty closely, so I usually know about things the day they come out. Whether or not I can always get a video on the day that they come out is a little more hazy, but I usually am at least aware of them. And, I love to sit down and kind of share my thoughts on the new characters and things like that. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know down below. Just show your support on this video. I'll know you guys are enjoying these and want to see more of them. And I can cover some of the other characters that are coming out soon because I would love to talk about some of the other ones. I'm still really, really excited for Gwenom. And I'm definitely looking forward to Electro. I want to see what he does. I really hope he synergizes well with some of the other ones here. So I think there's a lot of exciting things coming for the next few releases, and I'd love to be able to talk about some of those. So if you guys enjoyed, do leave a like down below and leave your thoughts in the comments. I love to see what you guys think about stuff like this. And yeah, I'll kind of decide based on that whether you guys want to see more of these types of videos or if you'd rather I kind of leave those to other people. Um, but that is going to do it for me for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, have a great day, everybody. Peace.